The king prepares to abdicate the throne. The curtain falls on Gant's win streak. And a fiery escape for this off-roader in Denver. This and more next on Speedweek.
Speedweek is brought to you by Dodge, a great way to rediscover American value.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Speedweek. I'm Bob Jenkins. Our top story tonight involves one of the greatest names in the history of motorsports. The winningest stock car driver of all time, Richard Petty, held what was called a major news conference on Tuesday at the Petty Enterprises shops in Level Cross, North Carolina. Our Jerry Punch was one of nearly 200 reporters from around the world that attended. He joins us now with the details. Jerry?
Thank you, Bob. There was a lot of speculation as to what Richard Petty would announce at his press conference, but as expected, he said that 1992 would be his final year. It'll be what he'll call the Fan Appreciation Tour, a one lap of America where he'll go from Winston Cup track to Winston Cup track, saying thank you to all those loyal fans that have been with him for these past 35 years.
It will be my last year next year, and it will be known as a Fan Appreciation Tour. That's going to be the name of the tour that we're going to do. It's not a farewell tour because I'm not going anywhere. It's a fan appreciation tour.
There were numerous dignitaries on hand to pay tribute to Richard Petty, including Bill France Jr., the president and chief executive officer of NASCAR.
He has touched on the lives of millions of NASCAR fans. He has signed thousands of autographs. He has posed for thousands of photographs, and not once has he complained. Richard Petty's attitude toward the sport is what has made him a legend. Everything he does at times is for the fans.
Bob, now I am joined by the undisputed king of stock car racing, Richard Petty. And Richard, this had to be a difficult decision for you.
Well, yeah, it did. But it's kind of deal, I guess everybody's kind of realizes that, hey, this road's coming to the end here. We better look for another road. And I guess, about a year and a half ago or a good year ago, we sat down with STP and Pontiac and said, this is what I want to do. I didn't make up my mind, and when I went to contract these people again for the next couple of years, then I told them what I had in mind, and so they went along with the show. So that made it easy for me, and then we figured we could make it. But just making a decision and then getting back out there going again, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to come back to this track again or something like that, probably be kind of tough on me by the end of next year.
Now, will you possibly get back in a car after you step out in November of '92? Will there be any chance you'll get back in sometime?
Hopefully not. I'm pretty hard-headed, and most time when I make a decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, I usually stick with it. And right now, I see no need of me making another change. In other words, if I tell you what I'm going to do, and I tell you that's the last time I sit in a race car or go and drive in a competitive race, then you can pretty well bet on it. That's the way it'll be.
What will happen to Petty Enterprises for '93 and down the road?
Well, hopefully, we just continue on with our same situation with the same sponsors and the whole situation. The only thing is that Richard Petty will just not drive the race car in '93. We'll have somebody else drive the race car. But I'll still look after the PR, I'll look after the business, still work with the sponsors, hustle up the sponsors, all the same things that I'd been doing. Like I say, I'll just give up the driving part of it and I'll get somebody else to drive. And hopefully all this stuff will work out. Looks good on paper, but when we start trying to make it work, it's kind of tough sometimes.
Bob Jenkins, we all knew this day would come, but now it is upon us. A year from now, the end of 1992, the king will call it quits.
All right, thanks, Jerry. The face of our sport certainly is changing with A.J. Foyt's retirement this year and Petty's next. Our top story tonight concerned the Richard Petty news conference, where he announced plans to end his 34-year-old driving career. Benny Parsons has some thoughts about the king and his contribution to racing.
With Richard Petty's announcement this week that 1992 will be his final season as a driver, I can't help but think about the impact the king has had on the sport. When you stop and look at the Winston Cup record book, his numbers are staggering. Most career wins, 200. Most wins in a season, 27 in 1967. Most consecutive wins, 10 in 1967. 18 consecutive seasons with at least one win. Over 1,100 career starts. 7 Winston Cup championships, 7 Daytona 500 wins. No one even comes close to most of these numbers, and probably never will. Personally, I thought I knew something about driving until I raced against Richard Petty. Just being on the track with him showed me how much I had to learn before I could even call myself a race car driver. He just flat out blew my mind. But the story of his greatness goes beyond what he does on the racetrack. It's the man himself. He transcends the sport. Win or lose, he's always the same. There's that big smile, the love and respect he has for the fans, as well as the love they have for him. Man, you can feel it. He helped carry the sport from the small-town dirt tracks to the major league sport it has become today. In 5 different decades, he's been the driver all others have been measured against. There's no doubt in my mind, Richard Petty is the greatest stock car driver of all time.
Well said, Benny. And